Okay, so that's a taste of Special Correspondents. Ricky, where did the idea come from for this
Well,
movie?
it's originally it's a French movie from a few years ago. I just took that central idea of a couple of idiots meant to cover a war, and they I throw away the tickets and passports. I'm going through a really bad phase, and I realise it's radio, so I can fake it. So we build a studio and we pretend we're in Ecuador, and then we get carried away and we become heroes, and then we get more embroiled and we have to dig our way out of it. I mean, it's a satire against sort of journalism and media a little bit, but the real target is fame itself, I think. The things people do today to be famous.
Yeah.
The things they, that nowadays there's no difference between fame and infamy. People would rather be known as an absolute idiot than not known at all. There's people now that live their life like an open wound, and they're rewarded for it, So it's all about that, and Vera's character, my wife, is the personification of what's wrong with society today. She thinks she deserves to be famous, she thinks that'll sort everything out, just because we see these talent shows where people say, oh, I want this so bad, and we're meant to go, oh, if you want it, okay, we'll vote for you then. It's like, who gives a fuck? Oh, I don't care. It's just all singers. We're going to run out of doctors because everyone wants to be on a talent show. Yeah. So it's sort of about that, but it's a human story as well. It's about what you do, how tempting it is to take the shortcut, and it is tempting. We all sometimes exaggerate. Sometimes we don't own up to the truth straight away because we fear it, and we worry about what people think of us. So it's about that. It's a human story. It's character driven, like everything I do, but it's more. I suppose it's the most ambitious thing I've done. I think this felt like I went to big school shooting this. You know what I mean? It's a real movie with plot and twist, and it's probably the most ambitious project I've ever done.
Absolutely. And you said right back at the beginning, it's about two idiots.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know he was an idiot in real life.
Yeah.
No, because I cast Eric because I thought he was this brooding thespian. I'd seen him in Munich. Whoa, with his shirt and everything. Ooh, right. And he was, Bruce Bana. Oh, hang me in the Hulk. Oh, I'm all serious, right. And I thought that would be great to play against me. Yeah. But then I found out he started out in comedy and he's an idiot. He's a putz just like me.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's a compliment. And we got on straight away. I mean, most of the time, I ruin lots of takes because I want it to be funny. I've done all the hard work. I've written it. I've cast it. Every day is fun on one of my sets. We shoot fast. I shoot with 2 cameras. We miss nothing. There's improv, and we had fun all the time. And between takes, for some reason, we talked about each other's balls a lot.
Okay, wow.
I don't know why. I don't know how it started.
I'm not here.
Well, who started? That makes me a question I don't have written down here.
We just did stupid accents. I think I found out that he was half Croatian, and so I was doing hello, how are your balls?
That's Russian. That's not Croatian.
Oh, like I can tell the difference. I couldn't even do an accent. I made him play American. Yeah. And Kelly MacDonald, who's Scottish, but I always play a bloke from England. I don't want voice coaches.
Have you even tried?
I could do it. But I'm writing it, I'm directing it, I'm producing it, I'm worried about stuff. Now I'm going to worry about how to pronounce things with an American accent. No, fuck that. Life, no, I'm busy. Let me just act like an idiot.
This is why you hire him, he can do the accent.
He can do the accent.
Eric, that seems very unfair. I mean,
it is unfair because it's not like there are no Australians in the world. Why can't there be Australians in film?
No one will take you seriously.
Really?
If you can, I go, geez, Cobber. Right? Is that a good Australian accent?
Well, I guess I was playing a radio journalist in New York. But no,
exactly.
CNN is full of Australian journalists, so why didn't I fight for that?
I don't know, I think you were just thrilled to be working with me.
Yeah.
He didn't want to wear one of these, mess his hair up.
Yeah. I like it. I feel like I'm
I feel like someone was
Madonna. Yeah. We're going to dance, but you're going to have that at the end. You're not going to be able to...
and I will regret it. I will regret it. Eric, is this true, this accusation, this is a heinous accusation that you are an idiot?
I am an idiot. That's how I got my start being an idiot. And then at some point in my career, I got offered a lot of serious stuff, and I just kept saying yes until people. It was Ricky, as you say. Ricky didn't know that I had a comedic background, which was actually really good for me because I felt like I was under no pressure, despite the fact that we were doing a comedy. And I didn't feel like, oh, I've got to really deliver on the comedy side. I knew that there was a job for me to do, and then in the end, we kind of found a funny dynamic just because of the dynamic that Ricky creates as a director, which is to have fun. That we found it hilarious for my character to be a real mean prick to him all the time. That was the one note I kept getting from Ricky was no, meaner, nastier, and we found that funny. So in the end, I felt like I was in really safe hands, and I didn't feel that sort of comedic pressure. And
it's because I don't make my characters tell jokes.
Yeah.
They're not telling jokes. It's the situation that's funny. It's the dynamic that's funny. And I think things like anger are funnier than clowning. Someone who's angry, someone who's not trying to be funny, someone who wants to be taken seriously, it's funny already.
Yeah.
If you desperately want to be taken seriously, but your wig blows off, you're finished. Whereas if you're an idiot, nothing can happen to me to embarrass me because I'm already an idiot. Whereas you're handsome. If you slip over, it's devastating.
So in terms of crafting this relationship, this double act, do you see it as a double act? Did you look at previous...
It is the central relationship, certainly, and it's sort of like, I think it's quite old-fashioned in a way, and I think it's a throwback. It's something, like the Bob and Bing, or, Laurel and Hardy-esque, and I think it's a sort of grown-up comedy of the 40s, and, where are the Barbara Stanwicks talking to Fred McMurray in Double Indemnity? Where are those things? I think a lot of comedies now are gross out, lowest common denominator, and that's because they want everyone to go to the cinema in the first day, or it's taken off the screen. So it's very homogenised and very safe, and it's okay, and people know what they're getting, and they don't take chances anymore. They're sort of made by committee, and they're focus grouped to death. So it's the same as the film you saw last month that you liked. And I think that Netflix will be the return of the auteur, because you make the movie you wanted. They've got 75 million subscribers. They've cut out the middleman of competing at the cinema and having to make those compromises to make it commercial. And they just watch it like they would. Let's face it, most people watch films after they're on the cinema. Most people. So we're just cutting out the middleman. But the important thing is that I was left alone. And usually I've always had fine edit, I've always done my own thing, but usually to get that luxury, I go to fringe channels. I've made some smaller films, and I've made TV, but I go to, BBC 2, not BBC 1. Channel 4, not ITV1. HBO, not NBC. But Netflix come along, best of both worlds. Left alone, and the sky's the limit with how many people can watch it. It's global, it's immediate. It's great, and the word of mouth works because it's always there. So it's just perfect. As an artist, you want as many people to see your film as possible, but without compromise, and that's it. And I make it an actor's medium. I think it's fun. It's fun to work like that when you don't have to worry about someone saying, "Oh, you can't say that." Why can't you say that? Of course you can say that. Why? Who's telling you you can't say that? We're grown-ups. We can say what we want.
Absolutely. Is that what you found, Eric, working on?
Yeah, I mean, there was, from an actor's point of view, it's a great way to work because, I signed on to do this film because of Ricky, and because Ricky was directing, and because Ricky had written it, and so to have that complete autonomy on the set, for the actors, it's great because there's one boss, and that's it. I mean, it doesn't even make you feel like he's the boss, but. So I think, from a performance point of view, it's great as well because you feel very, very free, and there's no one off to the side giving notes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And at what point did Netflix come on board? Because it didn't start.
No,
as a Netflix film.
This was going to be a studio film. Well, I had no plans. I wrote the script and I gave it to my agent, and they sent it out, and the reaction was fantastic. Probably the best reaction I've ever had. There was a bit of a feeding frenzy. And we chose a studio, and we signed, and then Netflix went, we'll buy it all, we'll buy it out. We give you the budget, and it was win-win for me. So, you know, I mean, it's an offer I couldn't refuse.
I had a colleague who was actually on set during the making of the movie, and he told me about how free your filmmaking process seems to be. You do multiple takes, you have a script, but you don't necessarily adhere to the script. Just how freeing and how important is that for you as a filmmaker, and Eric as an actor as well?
It's really important to me, because you sweat over the lines and you rewrite, but you don't know who's going to say them. And so then I bring in physicality. I write lines that, you know, you go for your ideal cast, but you can't imagine, you really can't. I try and imagine it on the screen, but when you get there, the best lines in the world, they might not sound right.
Yeah.
They might not sound, because, you know, the rhythm's different, and you build your character, you change your character. Even the first day, you know, change your character, and sometimes you have to go back and do a different scene because you found something.
Yeah.
So you've got to be flexible. It's mad to be rigid. You don't have to be rigid, you know. I shoot with 2 cameras, so I don't have to worry about continuity. If someone says an ad-lib, I don't have to turn around to do the other side. Everything's captured and everything's real. And I'm a slave to realism. For me, the more real and natural something is, the more it resonates with the audience.
Yeah.
I think if you can suddenly see acting or see directing, it's that, you know, I don't care about symmetry, or, you know, I can watch 2 interesting people tell an interesting story against a white wall. You know, I just think there's too much style over content. And that'll never change about the human condition, is one person telling another person what happened.
Yeah.
That's it. You can have all the special effects in the world, but something you can relate to. It's all about empathy.
And Eric, as an actor, I mean, what's that experience like for you, especially when you're working so closely with Ricky, because the film throws you together for most of the movie, you're in very, very close proximity to each other. How intimate was our relationship?
And as I said before, I mean, Ricky, you know, he did an amazing job. It was completely seamless. I never felt like I was having conversations with the director. I felt like I was having conversations with a co-star who had permission from the director to muck around. You know, basically is how it felt. So it was completely seamless. And Ricky said earlier today, you know, like, it sounds insurmountable when you think of, you know, acting, producing, starring, directing, but to quote you, Ricky, you find it easier to have that total control rather than be messed with. And at first I thought, wow, that's an interesting way of thinking about it. But in actual fact, it is true, because there's this total, especially with comedy, right? You know, what you want as a comic is your idea to not lose anything from here to there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It has to be a through line. Comedy doesn't work when you're going that way. Drama can. You can open up to you know, a conversation. You can talk about it for hours. You can't do that with comedy. It's either a really good, funny idea that needs to come out really quickly, you know, and be executed and captured, or it's dead. You know.
Yeah, it's fragile. I mean, the reason I started directing in the first place was to protect the writing. And then I produced to protect the directing. Because I think the best an idea gets is when it's in your head, as you say. And I mean, that's the beauty. There's not many things like that. Maybe the novel, stand-up, maybe the last sort of bastion of self-censorship, where the thing you say is the thing they hear. There's no committee, there's no filter, there's no, they can misunderstand it, or but what you said you meant to say. And I think what's exciting about the auteur art, in any sense, as opposed to the committee art, is that you don't have to be that different for it to be original.
Yeah.
You have to be slightly different, and we're all different. We've got a particular blend, so if you get your own way, it's probably going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
You know, it's as simple as that. And also, I'm only trying to please me, really. Well, I am, because I think that I think it's a disservice to the public to try and second guess them and try and please them. Because if you try and please everyone, you please no one particularly. But if you do it, if you really are ruthless with it and you really please yourself and you're your own worst critic, which you should be, then I think that they'll be grateful that you did it your way.
But the improvisational style you have as well, you have written a script. What happens if you have a line or a monologue that you really, really feel strongly about and someone goes off script? Can you be flexible in that way? Or?
Well, it's never happened because I don't know what it would have to be for them to say, please don't make me say that. because
Yeah.
they'd have read the script and they'd got cast to say
Yeah.
that. So, if anything, they would say, "Oh no, I don't want to say that. It's not in the script."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they might say, "Oh no, you know," but they couldn't object to the script suddenly.
Oh no, not object, but if you have a line in the script that you feel very strongly about and they want to change it, is that?
Well, I think there's a misconception sometimes with ad lib. Like
Uh-huh.
you don't ever change structure of a story
Of
in
course,
ad
yeah.
lib. You know, to give an example, there's a scene where Ricky and I are in are held captive somewhere, and halfway through our captive coming in talking to us, I suddenly decided that I found him really sexy. Okay, and I started talking to Ricky about how attractive I found him. That was completely, it was not in the script. We had great fun with it. It's not in the movie in the end.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't affect the structure of the story,
Uh-huh.
but that's the kind of environment you want, where we would just go and explore an idea that was like a tangent and a spin-off that
We
doesn't...
found that very funny though, didn't we?
We did the other day.
We did going, he's like a rock star. I was going, why do you find him attractive? I was like, this is like Stockholm syndrome. And he's going, it was all ad lib. But we kept laughing at the idea that we found a bloke holding a gun and was sexy.
Because you are a notorious corpser, aren't you? I mean, yeah,
I am. I'm the
Oh,
worst.
you're
I'm the worst
Yeah.
person I know at corpsing. If something's funny, it's a celebration. I think if they do it well, it's like I've heard it for the first time.
Yeah.
And if they change it slightly, I have heard it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I never forget how lucky I am either. It's the best day. It's the best. Creativity is the best thing for me. I get so excited about having an idea, but then the fact that I can get things made,
Yeah.
and it's playtime.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's such a fucking privilege
Yeah.
to do this. And same with stand-up. You know, people come out. You better be excited. If you're not excited about something, why should they be? That's your job as a director, to make people as passionate about this thing as you are. So you better be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? Who cares, you know? I've never done anything because, I might as well. You know, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'll walk away from really successful series because I think they're just right. You know, I'll start a new one. That's the fun for me.
Yeah.
Playing. That's what creativity is. It's playing. It's finding your inner child. You know, children fucking play. They've got no constraints, and then it's beaten out of them.
Yeah.
Grow up. You know.
Absolutely.
No, don't grow up.
Yeah. Absolutely. Eric, are you a corpser?
I am, and I was really worried going into this because I've been in trouble a lot of times over the years, and I thought, oh shit, this is going to be bad. And then on day one, he started going really badly, and I'm like, well, the director's laughing, wasting his own time. This is not too bad. And in the end, I found myself sometimes before lunch we would like struggle to get something. Ricky's like, no, we've got it, we'll move on. And I remember going, I think you're still going to need this angle of you're laughing. It was like we turned into the other way around where I had to like tell him off to stop, tell him to stop laughing. But
I know.
But it takes a braveness too. Like I think sometimes, and even in drama, some of the best directors I've worked with are people who are prepared to have fun on a film set, even when it's really gritty, dark material. Some of the best films I've worked on have been where directors have had a really light environment on the set. I think sometimes people mistake that, you know, being serious with being able to get something of quality.
Yeah.
And it does stifle you. It does suppress your imagination. It does suppress your creative thoughts.
Yeah, I think you've got
it takes
to be,
a braveness to do what
yeah.
you're
Well,
talking
you've got to be allowed to fail as well. I think some people are nervous having a bad take, whereas if you're in charge, I know I can have a bad take because I'm not going to use it. And I think the same with stand-up. You know, I can go out there and I've got to be able to say anything.
Uh-huh.
But nowadays it's dangerous to say anything because it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you've got to have a safe space as a comedian. Because I think a comedian, you know, it's not just to make people laugh, it's to make them think. And I think you've got to go places that people haven't been before. And I think you've got to be allowed to say things that everyone might find offensive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you've got to be able to play. And just like you do in private, I think you've got to be brave enough to try things. And then you go, that's too much, or I don't like that, or that doesn't work. But, I mean, you've got to just be free, I think. You've got to.
We have time now for some questions from the floor. Put your hands up if you have anything to ask Ricky and Eric. Yes, please, right down here on the second row. Thank you.
Hi. I've seen it's really good to sort of screener, and
Thank you.
one thing that picks up is that you say it's you have a go at fame and the realities of fame, but there are sort of some jabs at the media as well. Is that a reflection of any antagonisms that you have about the media?
No, I don't have any problem with the media except the obvious things, you know. As a famous person, it's so funny because when I first did this, I didn't become famous anyway. So I was about 39, 40. So I knew the pitfalls, and you know, at least I was famous for something. So I was a bit wiser. So I was wary. You know, I never signed that contract with the press. I never said, make me famous and you can go through my bins. I never did that. So, you know, but it's funny, you don't realise till you're famous till you find out all the misconceptions. Like I read about me and I realise that about 50% of all the things are wrong. Not in a terrible way, just slight information. So do I realise from that everything's about 50% wrong? You know? Well, probably. And I don't even mean malice. I don't even mean media lies or just slightly misinformation. And I think you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. And it doesn't matter with us. We're idiots. Who cares if you get our age or height wrong? You know. And I never complain when they say I'm too young. I never complain when they get it wrong. But no, I don't complain. I don't unless someone libels me that's devastatingly untrue and affects my life. I don't care. I've been through that. I feared it at first, and I realised that I thought reputation was everything. But now I realise that reputation is just what strangers think of you. And character is who you really are. Now I don't care. Unless people are coming to my house bothering me, I don't really care anymore. It's like Twitter. That's like reading every toilet wall in the world. It doesn't. You mustn't worry about it. It'll send you mad. Yeah. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't. You know. When they say something really bad, then I'll go, that's not true. But it's fluff. You know, you've got a lot of papers to fill. It's cool. You know, no. But this is different. This is you know, faking a war is slightly more serious than getting the name of my cat wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Eric, do you have a take on that as well? I mean, whenever you became famous, did you just experience something similar to Ricky?
No, I got nothing to complain about. I've had a really good run, actually. Similar to Ricky, I wasn't in the public eye until I was older, and so, you know, and it was through comedy. So I think when you come from from the comedy side, you just have a different kind of take on things anyway. So I've got nothing to complain about.
Also, we don't get seen coming out of bars, coked up and drunk and found in a skip and getting into fights. I do that. I sit at home in pants, drinking wine with my cat and my girlfriend every night. There's no story, do you know what I mean? There's nobody writing about me. So it depends. Some people do ask for it. It's the flip side of the coin.
Absolutely.
Some people do say, make me famous and you can go through my bins. And then they don't like it when you go through their bins. Well, you shouldn't fucking ask for it then, you know.
Sounds jam-packed. Yes, please. There's a gentleman over here.
Just to Eric, just in relation to you mentioned about your previous comedy work, and I'm just wondering, The Castle, how much did you draw on that for this film?
Not really at all. Yeah, I mean, they're very, very different kind of movies. Like I said, I didn't really have to. The advantage having a comedic background wasn't 100% essential for me in this film. It was an advantage I felt because it's always good to know where the comedy is. Okay, so I felt like I could better help Ricky be funnier because I would understand the timing of where the comedy's meant to be and not get in his way. And then, as I said before, and then we naturally found a realistic kind of character vibe between us that we then made funny. But I think it would have been dangerous for me to come in and go, righto, you know, look out, here's some funny shit that I can do.
Right, exactly.
You know, because it's just about me being aware of where that. So that was an advantage, but yeah.
There's nothing worse than someone trying to be funny all the time. There's nothing less funny, you know. And I think that all those, as I said earlier, that those things where people aren't trying to be funny, they want to be taken seriously, or they're angry. Ego is the funniest. Incredible. Stupidity with arrogance. Stupidity with arrogance. Oh, there's comedy. You know, so yeah, you're right. You've got to play it just right, but you've got to know where the comedy is, why it's funny.
Yes, please, over here.
I have a question for Ricky. Is there a price you have to pay for choosing this path of freedom, of saying whatever you want, of offending whoever you want, of choosing whatever?
Of course, you know, with freedom of speech, you know, it's. I think offence is the collateral damage of freedom of speech, but will come to that. With that I have to take the consequences. I have to know that some people might like what I say. It's not, you know, I'm not surprised by that, and you know, I can justify everything I say, and if they don't like it, I can tell why I'm justified in saying it. Yeah, it's. I don't platform for it. I don't try and ruin people's day. I don't go out to be offensive for the sake of it. That's boring and churlish and too easy. There's nothing you can say that someone somewhere won't find offensive. But as I said before, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. You know, some people are offended by equality.
Do people choose not to speak to you because of things you say?
I don't know. I don't know. I've never had, you know, what doesn't bother me, I don't care, and also, you know, yes, there's a, as I said, a downside to no compromise. That probably I like to go to more fringe channels, you know, but I don't see it as a. There's no competition. There's no competition for me. I'd rather do the thing. If you get your own way and it turns out like you wanted, you're bulletproof. You don't care what happens to it then. I don't care. I've made my thing and I'm moving on to the next thing. You know, I'd rather people loved it than hated it, but the more famous you get as well, the more people love you and the more people hate you. That's just, they're just more aware. That's, if you're doing anything that isn't anodyne and watered down, you're going to polarise. And I want, it's good to polarise, because some people are smart and some people are fucking stupid. You know, and you know, and the people who hate you can't affect you. They don't buy your stuff anyway. So don't worry about that. Just do what you want and do it as well as you can, and it'll all be okay.
Time for the last question. Yes, please, over here.
Is there, after this film, any possibility that Frank and Ian will be back in another film or in a series, maybe?
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether you could. I never. Apart from a series, a sitcom or something, I never really do it with, you know, thinking of it being a franchise or chapter 2. You put everything into chapter 1. I don't know. I don't know where it would go. We'd have to fake another war. Or we could do something else. Frank and Finch, they give up that, and they.
The answer is no.
I guess so.
And on that bombshell.
We always wanted to be clowns.
That'd be amazing. That is it for the Special Correspondents
Thank you.
panel. I'm going to pass over to Jonathan next to wrap up the day. In the meantime, please join me in thanking Eric Bana and Ricky Gervais. Thank you so much.
Thank you.